Right, hey guys, now prior to the webcast this week, I figured, you know what, we got a video submission for a feature from Pressure FPV of Cyclone's race team on DCL The Game. So I was like, yeah, dude, of course, absolutely, I will chuck that in at the start. Links below to this video as well. Awesome spot. There's Willington Cooling Towers in the UK, big, well-known FPV freestyle spot. Also, Pressure tells me it's known as Killington. Because it's where people go to kill their quads, which, yeah, I can imagine if I was going to dive a tower like one of these, that is absolutely what would happen to my quad. But yeah, hopefully, you know, when all this is over, I'd love to get to the UK and actually fly some spots. It would be pretty cool. This one does look awesome. So there's some footage of me and the guys chatting about flying cooling towers. So I'll hand you over to that. But no, thanks for the submission, dude. Absolutely awesome. And yeah, hope to see you on the webcast in the coming months.
Sorry, we're just chatting about, you know, killing quads in cooling towers. So, you know, yeah, that's how we go. That's how we roll.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, I know, but both of us, see, you'd probably never actually lose signal. You'd have a good setup where you wouldn't lose signal if you dove a cooling tower. Both of us were just saying that we'd probably be like straddling the wall in between, trying to make sure that we get signals so we don't either A, kill ourselves, or B, wait for the big kaboom when there's no signal left. So
well, I usually never go far away.
No, I'm the same.
Right in front of me, so yeah, usually don't lose signal, but I've had really bad luck with crossfire sometimes.
Yeah, even crossfire.
Yeah, with the low latency, the old crossfire, not the new one. With 150 hertz.
Yeah,
that was giving me a ton of fail safes.
Okay,
but yeah,
that's it. I thought, yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to stay because I've got to at some point soon. I've got to actually step up and change my stuff over to something decent because I'm still flying Fly Sky for crying out loud. Not even FR Sky for crying out loud. You know, but hey, it does the job, and I'm kind of lazy, so if I kind of crash it, well, you know, it's short a walk. That's the walk as far. It's only going to be like 500 meters. Meh, it's going to be around there somewhere.
Right, hey guys, and welcome into the 5th episode of the Apex Community Webcast. I'm joined here today. I'm Pfizer FPV. I'm joined by Asylum FPV and special guest this week, the legendary Marc Espuna Singularity. How's it going, everyone? How are we doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you. Yeah,
definitely for coming. So, how was your Christmas? How was your New Year, Mark? Because you were pretty much racing all the way up till Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, yeah, there was a race in the end of December, and I also was very busy with college, so not much of holiday, but it was great.
It's good to do things beautiful. You love, though. I mean, like especially seeing like the IDL. I know we didn't have a lot of DCL racing during the year, but seeing that actually went ahead, that was awesome. So it must have been great fun to still be flying fast in real life over Christmas.
Yeah, and there was not many races anywhere, so we were very happy to be there actually.
I bet.
Absolutely. So first off, for those people that actually don't know Mark, Mark, where are you from? How long have you been flying? And how did you get your FPV name?
So I'm from Spain, from Barcelona, and I
beautiful part of the world, Mike.
I started FPV about maybe 2.5 years ago or something like that, and yeah, I started with photography. So that's what got me into it. But then I wanted to have a license of flying drones, and I met someone that was an FPV pilot because I didn't know that this hobby existed. So, and he showed me the FPV quads and racing, and I thought, well, I think I'm going to build one. And I did, and at that time I think I had a Mavic 1.
Okay, yeah.
First
Okay.
Mavic that came up, and then I built an FPV racing quad, but it was like the cheapest things I could find on the Chinese website.
Yeah.
It was like super cheap, and I ended up only flying the super cheap quad and never flying the Mavic.
Yeah.
And then
You were just
never touching the Mavic. And yeah, I think, and then I sold the Mavic and I got into FPV.
yeah, beautiful. So, how long was it from the first time that you actually got that cheap Chinese FPV drone to your first race type of thing? And did you actually fly that cheap drone in your first race, or by that stage you're kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to get serious, so I'm going to get something decent before?
Yeah, I flew that mega cheap quad on the first race, but it was a local race. I think it was like something like 15 pilots, and
Yeah, okay.
and maybe I did the first race. Maybe I've been flying 1 month.
Oh, really? And you were just straight into it after that?
Yeah, and that first race I got fourth.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Man.
beautiful.
And
Because-
I actually I crashed. I was first and I crashed in the finals.
Oh no.
Oh, that's
Oh,
it.
dude.
Yeah,
It was almost meant to
And you
be
would've had
then.
That's it.
yeah, it was close, but there was actually some quite good pilots. So yeah, it was not easy.
Yeah, and here you are rocking up on your, first ever race with your first ever quad type of thing, going, hey, I got to race this thing and it's going to be awesome. You're like, hey, I almost nailed this. This was pretty cool.
And that quad actually felt almost like the DCL quads, like it was super slow.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, I was gonna say like a brick.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about
Yeah.
settings and things? How did you pick up things like rates and camera angle and stuff? Did you kind of just throw something on and just sort of be like, oh, I'll try that and see how it goes, or?
Well, maybe I skipped up something because I didn't like build the super cheap quad and flew right away.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
downloaded a simulator, a free simulator that I found, and then I flew that maybe a couple of weeks. I was like all the time flying that, and that's how I got used to the rates and how everything worked. Because I had to wait all the stuff to arrive. So
Yeah.
in the
To rock up
meantime,
from
It
China.
takes ages coming from all the Asian companies
Yeah.
over to anywhere in Europe. You're like 6 weeks
Oh.
later and something turns up, you're like, did I order this? I don't remember this.
yeah. So yeah, I already
Oh.
had my rates, and yeah, I was just trying different things. Basically.
Okay. Well, I suppose it gives you the fundamentals also of what you need to be looking at before and when you actually get the quad, you go, yeah, well, okay, this makes sense. And if I do this, and how it actually reacts, even if the sim is, average, because some of the early sims were quite basic,
Graphics
really. But
weren't
they,
great,
as you
yeah.
say, they gave you but the fundamentals on tuning and stuff like that seem to be quite good also. So at least by the time you, as you say, you got the drone in your hand, you kind of knew what you were looking at and what to tweak and which way to go, type of thing, if that makes sense. So I gave you some fundamentals to it, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm
So,
telling you,
no,
Tim,
that's-
simulators are the way to learn, man. You don't just go and buy stuff and crash it.
I swear I must be the only person on the planet who actually just went and got a drone and just went, I'm going to fly this thing. But I don't know. I'm still waiting for that one person that turns around and says to me, yeah, I did that too. You're not alone.
But
But
did it
everybody
went
is
well?
like simulators.
Did it went well
Hey?
the first time?
Oh, no, I was crapping. Oh, I thought I was going to crash it. Oh, I thought I was going to crash it into people's windows. I didn't even have any goggles at the time. I thought I was going to crash it into people. No, I was just
FPV
line of sighting
with no
backwards and
goggles.
forwards. Yeah, I know, right? No, it wasn't a good experience, Mark. I actually put it back in the cupboard for about 2 months until I got, goggles, and then
Yeah.
I was more comfortable. Then I was happy. I could see where I was crashing. And see what I was
That's
busting,
what
and the neighbors
The
were screaming.
simulator. That's why I really like the simulator, because I did a lot of simulator, and the first flight that I did, it was completely fun.
Yeah, same. And it's funny because going from the simulator and then even, I mean, I fly around my backyard and I've got a field that I can go up and fly, but to take the quad out in public and kind of find somewhere that I could go and fly, I felt so much more confident after spending a lot of time on the simulator than I did when I first went and flew around in my garden and I'd hardly flown on a sim or anything like that. I think it's incredible how much, I think, muscle memory really that you just pick up.
Yeah.
You know, if you end up in a weird position, your muscles just
You know which way you're going to get out.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's real merit in, and hell, it's cheaper, isn't it? Like, it's an awful lot cheaper than crashing in real life.
Yep. Look, and it's funny because I have seen people that have come up, and you know, even since I've been around, because I've only been flying for a very short period of time, really, anyway. But from what I've seen, you know, people are like, "Oh, this is my first ever pack that I've flown outside," and they're killing it, and I'm just like, and then they go, "Oh, yeah, I've been flying sim for 12 months," and I'm like, "There you go,
Exactly.
okay, there you go," and I think that's going to be awesome for people coming through, and there's so many good sims now. Like Mark, you've been racing with the VRL season 5. You guys took that out.
That's crazy.
And you know, with the DCL, yeah, it's just all these leagues that are coming up and coming over. It's going to be exciting. It really will be for the next. I reckon this year might be the year that it fully expands globally. So, do you reckon that's possibly the way, Mark, or is it just going to stay with however the situation is in Europe at the time?
I really don't know. Hopefully, but I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit that it should be growing faster. I don't know. I'm not sure if this year will really take much bigger. It will grow much more. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure about this one.
I think look,
video game wise, I think we saw with the DCL, certainly the viewing figures on Twitch and stuff like that. Virtually, it really took off last year with that, because people did, we didn't have anything else, I guess, and especially in Europe, I mean, there wasn't a lot of other sport going on anywhere. I mean, obviously, like we had the IDL, but there was, like you say, there was no other drone racing at all, not big, televised stuff. So there was a lot of people viewing it online, and I think there's definitely scope to bring in a bigger audience for the video game stuff, so long as this thing's going on. But I think it's really important to remind people that this happens in real life, because as soon as, like, you get a lot of people that are watching that have never seen a drone race in real life, and they're kind of watching it going, wow, this looks awesome, what is it, what am I watching, what is this game? And you're like, it's not a game, like, this is real life, it's just we can't do it in real life at the moment. So I think the more we can kind of convince people that, don't forget, it's real, we do this in real life, I think that this thing, it can blow up, it could be the next Formula One, it's the kind of, that's what we're kind of looking at trying to become, I think, really, as a sport. So I think it's exciting, but I think you're right, Mark. I think next year, I think you've got to be optimistic, but I don't think it's gonna kick off as big as it could do if it was just normal. Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, but it's true that maybe DCL have never been so active in the esports department and doing all these live streams on Twitch, etc. So maybe it could took off, but because that's different from the other years, so it could be.
And it's a very different style of game to play, and the way, especially with DCL, the way that they did all the commentary and all of the kind of overlays and all the kind of just the coverage in general was really professional, and I think that really brought in a lot of people that kind of went, wow, actually this is really pro, like, it's pretty cool, so it's like just like something you'd see on Sky Sports or Eurosport or something. It was really good. So yeah, no, I think keep pushing the way we are. I think no reason why it can't be a good year next year.
So So it seems like Spain. How is Spain with drones in general? Before we actually get into the IDL, what's Spain's take on drones? Are they? You've got to be licensed. Are people accepting of them, or do they freak out every time they hear one and see one?
Well, you can't. So there are quite a lot of restrictions now, and I actually think they added more. So I might not be completely. They added more very recently, so I might not be completely right. But
down with them all.
Yes, so we can't fly obviously over any populated areas, and if it was a recreational drone, in theory you didn't need a license, but maybe that now it changed, and maybe now you need actually a license for anything.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like weight restrictions and
oh really? Weight restrictions already?
Yes, and another restrictions in where we can fly.
Okay, so no diving La Sagrada Familia.
No.
Damn, there goes my dream.
No. Anywhere in Barcelona, or even like 15 kilometers from Barcelona, even like you are.
Oh really?
There is the airport, and it's a very big airport.
Yeah, that's space. Yeah.
They say you are invading his
airspace.
Space, and you're gonna get screwed.
Yeah, that's
super big.
You'll end up with like the military on you or something at that point. Because we saw it in the UK with Gatwick Airport. People will use like not FPV drones, but normally like your kind of DJI photo drones and things. But they'll use those to protest at airports now. So they'll just fly them in and just hover them around, and then they had people coming in with sniper rifles trying to shoot these things out of the sky. So it's a big deal. Like, it's dangerous. You don't want to go fly near an airport.
Yeah, and they have now like a device that it makes your quad loose now.
Yeah, just drop out the
drone
sky.
Gun. So your drone goes out. I'm not sure though if it works with Crossfire, because that's very weird.
We're trying to find a way around this.
Crossfire is immune.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know, but I'm not going to try.
No, it's not worth it.
No.
But generally speaking, the Spanish are pretty cool with it. Yeah, as long as you're flying out where you need to be and you're not bothering anybody, everybody's pretty cool with it. So does that translate to people spectating for the IDL, or are they banned kind of spectators for those because of all the COVID stuff that's been going down? Because a lot of the races I didn't actually see any spectators, and I just didn't know whether that was the way it was cut and shot, or whether they just said races only and that was it.
Well, since there was COVID and all of that, they did what they could to have some races at least, and they didn't put maybe a lot of work into the live stream, and it was more like the spectators on the place, like the real public on the scene that were there, and not much on social media. But I'm sure that they will change that or work on that in the future. But in that situation, that's what they ended up doing. And
I think it's important to push it with the people that are there, though, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're making a good image for yourself in Spain, because you want to be able to carry on hosting races there kind of next year and things. So if you're making a good impression where you're flying, and the local people to that area can come down and be like, wow, this is really cool, this is really good, that next year you're not going to struggle to fly there. They'll be like, yeah, come back, it was really good fun. I think that's good grammar. But IDL, to be fair to them, their coverage online and stuff, it wasn't easy to find, and I don't think they pushed it on social media like you say, but the stuff that is there is really, really good to watch. Like, I mean, it's all, I don't understand it. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but I could watch it.
Spanish
You know,
is hopeless.
but I could watch it. I've sat and watched it. I was like, well, this is really cool. You know, whether that's just me desperate to find some drone racing stuff from this year, or but no, it was good, and I think it's really interesting that Spain's got its own league. I love that. I think that's really really cool. It'd be good to see that in some other countries. You know, see if we could get like a UK league or an Aussie league, or you know, I think it'd be really good.
Oh yeah,
that would be fun. And maybe a race between leagues. I don't know.
Yeah, like a World Cup or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
man.
the DCL World Cup type of thing, and then we can all get together because, and this is the thing, you're based in Spain, Mark, and the rest of the team are mostly in mainland Europe type of thing. Well, you're mainland Europe too, but they're in Sweden and Denmark and all that type of thing. So
Up in the north.
you are a little bit more, they're up in the north, so you're a little bit more spread out from those guys. So how is it for you, especially with 2019? You joined the team at the start of 2019 after. See, I thought it was funny because I actually watched the Turkish Grand Prix because Thomas Bismarta was there and I was watching that, and then I saw you pop up, and then the guys from Apex rocked up, and then it was like 4 months later and you joined the team. So I got to ask the question, what happened at Turkey that made you change your mind to join Apex? Because that was, to me, as an outsider, I could be totally wrong, but an outsider looking in, it looked like that was a turning point that changed your mind to join the team.
So, yes, but it's a little bit different. When I actually joined Apex on the DCL tryouts, on the first DCL tryout.
Cool.
So yeah, they picked me up, but they didn't know me, and they had all the pilots that they knew better, and I actually was very very new to the hobby. I was so I didn't have like a ton of races. I didn't have like
The presence type of thing, or the
experience,
track
and-
record.
not much known pilot. I was there.
Yeah, okay.
And then in Turkey, I met them in person. And they saw me, and I think that the race went really well for me. And
Because you came home with third for that, didn't you? Second, sorry. My bad. I did know that.
I got second, and I actually had to flew the finals with a different quad. Like there was two races on the final, and I ran out of quads, and thankfully Dolma FPV borrowed me his squad, and I flew with his squad.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I went to Turkey with only 2 quads, and there was metal everywhere. Like if you crashed, you usually crash into metal. Like every
you were coming back from a crash.
Of a quad crashing into metal.
Yeah. Especially with those big gates, and it was like a big tunnel of them, and I'm thinking, how is anybody actually...
We're made out of metal, that tunnel.
Yeah, they were terrible, and I thought, how is anybody actually flying through them and still seeing? Like, how are they still people getting a signal? Like, let alone the interference with everybody running through a metal gates. I thought, and then people hitting them, I thought, nah, this is not going to be pretty. I don't think anyone had a really good experience from Turkey, to be honest. Everyone
it's like
came
Selena
back carnage.
Turda when DCL went there, and you've got the big like the Ferris wheel underground, and I'm watching people like flying around that. I'm like, oh god, please do not hit that, because that's not just going to be like a kind of bounce to the ground. That's going to be kind of explosion. Lipo's going to start catching fire. Horrible. Yeah, it gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
So you actually got. Sorry, Marco.
So it went very well, and I did what I could in with the Dolma quad, but I didn't have even my rates. It was like different rates, and I thankfully I got second in the end, and I was very happy considering that
absolutely.
the conditions that I had.
Because it's a big part of the DCL tryouts process as well, I think, certainly now, is being able to fly with different equipment. And I know we saw Quad Force 1 the other year just having real trouble with their quads, just even getting them in the air and things. So it is still a big part of racing, is being able to fly, you know, with a different transmitter, with a different set of motors on your quad and things like that. So I mean, it's good to be versatile, I suppose, you know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what's your standard setup, Mark? What do you like racing? What frame are you rocking at the moment? Obviously you're running Crossfire, but you're running what stack, what frame? What's working for you?
I actually changed from Crossfire because I was having problems with the old one.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm flying with Access now.
Okay.
With from Fly Sky, FR Sky. Sorry.
Same as me. That's what I use.
Yeah, Access.
Mm-hmm.
With F port to have less latency.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I didn't notice difference. And I'm
except
right
for
now
the price.
Changing. Yeah, exactly. Right now I'm changing my setup. So maybe I can tell you what I'm trying. Like I will be right after I finish my exams. I'll be testing different stuff. So I'm changing my current setup because I think it's maybe a little bit old. I need to update it.
Okay. Yeah, well, there's been a lot of changes even in the last 6 months. There's been a lot of new tech and a lot of new bits and pieces, and especially coming into a new season, if you can get you're testing in a new rig setup and comfortable before the new season, because to be completely honest, Mark, I think last year you had an awesome run with all the racing, either in real life or even in the sims. You had a really good strike rate last year for being on the podium. Like all the way through the year, you got seconds and firsts and thirds, and you're super fast, and it was just really a crazy year for everybody not flying in real life a lot. I saw a lot of you were still flying out there in real life, and then still crossing over to the sims, which was just awesome to watch. I know, as Shane said earlier, I think we were just running around looking for in real life races as it was, let alone you professional guys that were like itching to get out and actually race anything if it was local or whatever. And here you were, IDL, DCL the week before, and literally flying into IDL the next day and the next weekend. And yeah, it was crazy fast. It was awesome to watch. So yeah, coming into this year, if you can get it all dialed in with new tech, that'd be sweet as.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm very excited to try the new things with the new flight controllers and new motors, new frames.
Okay.
So I actually love to try new stuff.
That's one of my favorite bits. Is kind of
sure.
the building. I love building, and I think that's such a key part of it, is enjoying. Like, it's one thing like enjoying the flying and stuff, but I think if you can really like find the time to enjoy and perfect like the actual build, get the solder joints really nice and tidy everything up. Like, there's a real kind of like obsessive compulsive kind of joy that I get from just having a nice clean tidy build, and it's fun as well, going out and finding all the parts, like what's the latest one of these, especially now. I mean, the drone, the FPV world, things are advancing so quickly that there's a new frame every week, there's new motors every other day. It's fun to kind of go out and pick things and just see how they work together.
Yeah, and I also enjoy it, but I don't enjoy repairing.
No.
That I really now. When I crash my quad and completely destroy like the super clean build that I had.
Yeah.
Or that's not so enjoyable, but
that's all the more reason to be good though. Like you've got stuff on the line, you know. I mean, it's bad enough for us. I mean, when we crash as sort of like, you know, kind of amateurs or kind of freestyling. If you crash, like you might have broken an arm, or you might have, you know, a motor, like a bell housing's popped off and something's flown out, or you know, there's a couple of wires that come out. If you
Flight
crash,
controller.
yeah, but if you crash, Mark,
I just did my first flight controller.
It's obliterated, because I mean, when you guys crash, you're flying as fast as you can with that thing. I mean, for us, it's like, oh, I flipped upside down and then it just kind of fail-safed or something. You're like, yeah, I was going full speed and just hit a brick wall or something. Like, I can see why it would be pretty horrible to repair. Trying to pull out what isn't broken, you know.
Yeah, and then you remember that crash, because just
trauma.
one mistake can make so many hours of work.
Yeah, and they say the best thing to do is to kind of get back and fly again, I suppose.
Yeah, but it depends on what I hit, because I think that right now are very good, very durable, the racing quads in general. You only really break things if you hit like some material, some really strong material.
Yeah.
Even if you are going full throttle, if you hit something that it's not metal or a rock, usually it's not something major.
Too bad, because we find we've got some of the gem, we got some of the gem fan kind of like the hoop sort of type gates and things like that, and obviously they've got the big kind of carbon rods inside and stuff, and they feel really solid.
You got a lot of flex.
But yeah, that's it. You hit it and it kind of just bounces off, and you normally end up kind of still level after you've hit it, and you're like, wow, was it even there?
You flick off.
But then you look back and you see like some footage of it, and you're like, oh, okay, no, I hit that pretty square on. And then you look at the quad, and you're like, oh yeah, that prop's got a massive chunk out of it. But it never seems to damage anything else. Like, I mean, there's, as you say, like, I think it's making sure that the surroundings have got enough give that if you do hit them, that it's not too bad. A lot of the race, and obviously DCL's got the big inflatable ones, which must be really fun to crash into.
And damned expensive.
I'm amazed sometimes that I have like a super hard crash and I can keep going.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, this is amazing.
I've done it before. I've hit things and then you kind of like, I'm still in the air, can I save it? And you carry on and you're like, how the hell did that not?
But then you'll have the smallest little ding, and all of a sudden the whole quad just falls over. Like you bust an arm, or a motor spins off into eternity, and you're like, I just clipped it. How is that possible?
Shadow realm.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't get it.
That's
crazy. But yeah. So, how much notice for the DCL race for Lake Zurich? How much notice did you get before that? Or did you know it was coming up, or were you just like the Glenn was like, hey, you got to get in here, we need you racing that night? Did he give you a couple of days notice?
And that's before the race in Romania, you mean? Or
yes, yeah. So the last DCL race of the year.
Yeah. So at that time, they saw me on Turkey. So they Dane and the others like asked me if I wanted to come there, and I obviously said yes, absolutely. It was the only reason, I think, because I had a very good race in Turkey, and they saw me, and actually I was with them, and they actually helped me a lot, because I was not flying Crossfire on Turkey, and I had a ton of problems with the normal FrSky transmission system, because we were in the airport. So yeah, they helped me a lot, and in the end I had a very good race, and then I went to DCL.
So the last DCL sim race this year, or last year, sorry, for Lake Zurich, you know how you came in, were you given a little bit of notice before that night, or were you just straight into it? Because that was the only race out of the 4 races that you flew in the sim this year, wasn't it?
Yes. I don't know, maybe I was not putting in enough time at the first races to practice, because
Okay.
I was not used to the DCL sim, because it feels quite different to the other sims. But I actually enjoy the DCL sim, and I simply didn't spend the time that I needed to perform good enough at the first races, and I because there was a very good level in the team and in the other teams, and simply I needed to practice more, and then in the last race, in every race we did like an internal selection, and so I got selected simply for the last race.
Because honestly, that was a really, really technical track. Well, from our point of view, and I know Shane's still itching to get near this track, and we're still itching to get near the China track too. To be completely honest, both of those tracks we want, but it seemed like a really technical track where you had the over-unders through the gates at the back, and then you came up over the tower back in, and then you had the two oblong tunnels where you were ducking back through.
Yeah, it was crazy with
those. And I think, and here you are, Mark, saying that you didn't have enough time or you weren't up to pace. Yeah, and yet on that track, I thought that was probably the most technical track out of nearly all of them all year. And you were just eating it alive. So how did you find the track?
Well, actually, the tracks on the first day, actually, it was the one you mentioned. Those were not as bad. Those were not as technical as the second day. Wow. The second day really was really difficult, that one, because usually they do a track where there is usually one element that is really difficult,
really tough.
But then, for example, that part you mentioned, and that's how it was the first day. But the second day, like every obstacle in the tracks, it was very hard. Like you could crash everywhere, and that one was the one that I struggled the most. But the first day I felt all right. Didn't feel amazing, but I felt okay. But the second day it was very hard for me and for everyone, to be fair.
Yeah, I think everybody, and you definitely had your game face on. You definitely had your concentration face on that night. You know, and I think everybody would have a concentration face on if we didn't have goggles on half the time. But yeah, everybody, like, there was little kickers through those tracks, and there was little bits and pieces. If you weren't bang on it or you were slightly off, that was the end of you, type of thing. You whole line was mucked up. But yeah, the whole team and especially yourself did awesome well, and it was an awesome roundup to the season, I thought. Especially with Apex coming in second. That was awesome finish to a really sweet year. So Mark, literally following weekend, straight into IDL. You're up at the monastery. So how was it like flying a day and a night track? Because once again, here you just battled out the weekend beforehand, taking on X-Blade, and here you are in the IDL, up against X-Blades again, flying the day night. It's just like you can't get rid of them. Was it better to fly it during the day or during at night?
Well, actually, sometimes I prefer to fly at night if I can see the important things. If they illuminate everything that I need to see. I actually really like to fly at night, because usually at night there is almost no wind and it's very calm, everything. And I kind of feel it when I fly. During the day there was a lot more wind, and that track was gigantic, and maybe it didn't look like that, but there was like 300 meters of that where it was simply a small turn during very long. And maybe if I can see everything that I need to see, I prefer to fly at night actually.
Okay. Because you're right, and looking at the track, it actually looked quite small, really, because it looked like you were just running up the side of the monastery and then around a corner and then back over the top and back around again. But on a different angle, when you were looking back at the other end, looking back up towards where you guys were sitting, you could see actually how long it was.
Like the onboards as well.
Yeah, and the onboards, like you were full power on full throttle, and it wasn't just a blip; it was like full throttle for a good.
It was the entire time, because that was so long. That was full throttle all the time.
Crazy.
Yeah, and no wonder that split S, caught a lot of people, because you were coming full throttle and then trying to just give it that tiny little blip just to get back in and under, and that caught quite a few people out.
But tell us about the heat with Dark Eggs. I mean, that was really that was awesome. That was so fun to watch.
Yeah, that was because Next Blades and us were even with X Blades, and we needed to do like a rematch, a 1v1 to decide which one was gonna get a first in qualification, because we were even. And they chose me, and Next Blades chose Killian, and we had to do a 1v1. And Killian were obviously flying really well, and I knew that he had a little bit better time than me, so I needed to push a lot, and I tried. And we were more or less close during the race. And in the last split S, he made a mistake, and I could finish. But he was in front, and he was almost to the finish. So, I was lucky that he crashed, but
at the same time,
it was still awfully close.
It's a high pressure thing as well, and I don't know. Were you aware at the time that he crashed? Did you see him crash in your video feed?
I saw him.
To hold it together and still
I saw him all the time.
Yeah,
I had him right in front.
But this is it. So I mean, it's impressive to see that and not kind of get ahead of yourself and still kind of maintain the focus and because that's a tough split S. Any split S at high speed is a tough maneuver. So that was an awesome race, man. And I gotta say, like that was really good fun to watch.
Yeah, and people in the scene also, I think they enjoyed it, and it was really a good race.
The commentators went crazy as well. It was so good.
Oh yeah,
it was like Spanish football, man. That was awesome.
I couldn't care, but I was like, I got about 3 words out of it. I went, okay, they're excited. That's cool. It was a race. I get it.
It was good, man.
But and then what was it? The 22nd. The 22nd, you were racing back indoors for the final race of the season back in Madrid. So, Was that in the middle of all the crummy weather? Was that before the snowstorm, or around the same time as the snowstorm, or was that afterwards?
No,
because didn't Madrid have a massive snowstorm?
I think that was right before.
Okay.
Yeah, so it didn't happen yet. But it was indoors, so it was no problems for
No
weather.
problem. But that was still so that was that a 2-day event? Sorry, because this is where I got a little confused with the way the IDL kind of cut the footage for this. Is that I thought it was actually a 2-day event, but so it was a 2-day event?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was actually 2 races, like DCL.
Yep.
On Saturday one race and Sunday the other race.
Okay. So you guys ended up coming second overall.
Second overall in the league, yes.
Yeah. Fantastic work.
Yeah, we had maybe we could have done better with the first race because we had DCL, the first IDL race of this season. There was DCL, so me and my teammate of the Spain team, Thunder, he also couldn't go to the IDL race, and we went to the DCL race. So that first race, our team got 5th, and Next Blades got 1st. So we had to try to catch up during the rest of the season. And in the end, the last races were quite even, I think, more or less in terms of points.
Yeah, they were, and it was kind of almost a sort of like, well, you don't know, because I mean, you guys, as you say, you were trying to catch up. I think, like, as you say, had it been the perfect season for you guys, and you'd been at every event, I mean, it would have been a real down to the wire season, and I think that's good, because that's what you want in any sport. I mean, we see it in the likes of Formula One now. It's always Mercedes win everything, and it gets stale and it gets boring, and it's good. And I think certainly with even with DCL, I mean, we get a lot of X-Blades winning the championships, but the individual rounds, there's always a competition. There's always a team that kind of steps up. I mean, at one point, even like there was a McDonald's wildcard team, I think, in Lax the other year. There's always someone coming up and challenging for that, and getting those different winners, and that's where the excitement is. Having that competition. So yeah, I mean, you guys are really taking the fight to Next Blades. It was cool. It was good fun to see you kind of catch. It was like, oh, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna kind of clinch it at the end?
Be able to manage it.
Yes, it
so
was really great competition.
So what was your highlight for 2020? Like, we know it was a difficult season for everybody, but what was your racing highlight for 2020?
So all the races, you mean? Or
yeah, out of all your racing, all the sim, all the in real life, what was your best racing experience for 2020?
Maybe there was here at the start of right before the COVID pandemic in February, there was a very big race here in very close to Barcelona, and it's a very popular Spanish race, and I really liked that race. I won, and on that race the Kilian went, and many good pilots went, and I'm quite happy how I did on that race. So I'm very happy of that one. And then I don't know.
Then, just got a little crazy after that.
Yes, exactly. But
so, is there any plans for 2021? Anything you want to change? Obviously, you're going to be testing a new rig and new gear, but are you going to be concentrating more on sims just on the off chance that it goes virtual again this year, or kind of just keep flying as much as you can in both formats and see what the year progresses?
For sure, what I learned something on the last IDL race, is that I need a new setup and I need to change things, because I was flying with too old stuff. So that's one thing that I will change for sure. I will test more stuff and test back to back, and I'll give that a good priority.
Yep.
And maybe on the sim side of things, I'm a little bit like, I've been doing a lot of sim for a long time, and I don't know, maybe I'll for sure do a simulator, but maybe not during the entire season. Maybe during some months I might focus on that, but not. I don't want it to be a main thing, since I've been maybe flying too much sim on the past.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's the thing.
I would like to fly more real life and focus a little bit more on real life in terms of, generally speaking.
Because the simulators are great, but I mean it's never 100% accurate to real life.
It's not as satisfying.
No, exactly.
When I fly a real quad on a real track, and I can like feel the quad fly well, and I don't know, that feeling, it's very satisfying. And
it's the sound as well. I think there's so much I mean, it's one thing like you're in the simulator. Obviously, you hear it almost as if there's a mic in the drone. But I think when you're there and you're flying in real life, and you can hear like the sound of the wind and the kind of like the way that as the props as you wash into a turn, and you get that kind of ripping noise through the kind of wind. There's just so many sounds and just things that you don't get from the sim, and I think you're right. I think it's not as satisfying. I don't think flying in the sim. It's great for learning and getting fast and getting good, but I think that nothing beats real life. You can't.
Exactly. But I have to say, I really enjoy flying the sim, and I really like it and everything. I just only say that when you really fly a really good quad on a real track, I don't know, it's a plus, one level up.
Yeah, it's and as Shane said, you've definitely got you it is next level, and you just want to do it. And I think all pilots at some point, if they've actually ever flown in real life, they're like, yeah, I got to get out there, and the bite is hard, you know. And as you say, you've also got all your other teammates out there, and you've got everybody around you, you know, talking and concentrating in those little comments, and it's all those other little distractions, and having having 6 angry 6S quads ripping a track. I'm sorry, you can't beat that sound.
So
that is
good.
just crazy.
Mhm.
But and especially if we can get an audiences back to some of these events, that'd be fantastic too, because they would be amping up the atmosphere and
a
the
bit of
energy
cheering
in the area
and
too.
clapping.
And you're not
swoops,
getting that from a sim when you're just sitting there going, "Oh, I'm simming." Like, but I think 2021, and you guys will probably agree, I think it may be another hybrid year, but fingers crossed it's not. So
I mean, I know DCL's sort of take on it at the moment seems to be that they said before Christmas, didn't they? They wanted to do a hybrid season. I think really what we're going to probably end up looking at is going to be a lot of virtual races to begin with, I suppose, and then if things turn out for the better, maybe they'll try and look at getting some places in. I know that they always seem quite confident in races in sort of, certainly in Europe, for the likes of Liechtenstein, even Switzerland and things, as they're normally pretty good. We seem to get a race there every season. Maybe some new places. I know last year they wanted to go back to China again and things. So I don't know. Fingers crossed. It would be great, and I know that a lot of the community guys are really, really excited to kind of get out. And I know we all want to kind of stage like big meetups and kind of see everyone that because it's been a year or so. You know, we've built this community, and we've got all these people that even, you know, pilots on the PlayStation, pilots on Steam, on the PC, pilots that just are only in the Facebook group and things. And everyone's like, we've known each other virtually for so long, and no one's really been able to go, let's all go down to, I don't know, the lax round of DCL, and we'll all go meet up. And, you know, I think that's what everyone's really kind of hoping for.
Walk the track and talk.
Yeah, that's it. Just bring some quads and just go and, but like when things are over, we go fly somewhere else, you know? Like, I think that's one of the big draws of that. So, yeah, fingers crossed that we do get some real races next year, because, you know, don't get me wrong, the virtual stuff is brilliant. It's really well done, and it's great fun. But I think everyone's just desperate to get out and fly in real life, aren't they?
I would really like to have, but a very hybrid, like 50-50, real races and sim races. I really like that, but I don't think that we will get that at all. But if we can get just one race, at least real race, this season, I think I will be happy. But in the future, I would really like actually to have like 50-50 races, or there is many cool stuff that they can do, combining the sim and the real races, I think.
Because they qualify on the game, don't they? All the qualification takes place, and that kind of. But also, it saves the team's money, I suppose, because you're not cycling charges through those batteries. You're not crashing the quads. Yeah, exactly.
Money and competition time.
Exactly, and I think that's a good thing. And I think the other thing as well, you can have host cities that may not be able to actually host a race. You know, somewhere like London, for example, it might be difficult to find somewhere to fly because you're so close to so many airports. But if London turned around and said, well, we want a race, but can you do it virtually? Hell, you could be flying around Buckingham Palace or like the Tower of London or something like.
Yeah,
but you can have
Big Ben
that
and
virtual
that. You
presence.
turn that into a landmark race.
You know, we can't fly there IRL, but hey, like this is the London round of DCL this year, you know. So I think there's a really big merit in having a split season, because it saves a lot of time and money. I mean, obviously, it takes time to kind of build those tracks in the game, but it it also saves on travel. You know, even I'm sure DCL, it probably the money that they would spend on getting all the equipment out there, transporting all the gates and all the kind of lighting rigs and everything else. If that money is spent instead on designing a track, you know, I don't know the figures specifically as far as the finance goes, but I'm sure it's beneficial to everyone to have a lot more virtual rounds, you know. And I think you're right, it's good fun, and it also it pushes the game, it pushes the community, and it also reminds people that, you know, pilots that are coming up that maybe haven't had an opportunity to fly, you can fly in the game and you can go through drafts. And like Mark, you're a good example of how the draft process has really worked out, you know, and you've kind of found this career for yourself almost in racing drones. It's awesome.
That's true.
And I think after last year, you know, that maybe, yeah, this could be their way out. This could be their crowning year. Maybe they can learn from it and, as we say, do a hybrid and cut costs, but get the interaction, get their racing out there, and opportunities, and build it from there. In hope that we all end up back in real life with crowds and everybody's awesome and can travel around the globe and race these tracks instead of, you know, so much in the sim. So yeah. So are you doing any preseason work? Obviously we've kind of touched on it with your building and that, but your physical mental game, are you just relaxing at the moment? And obviously you can only relax so much because you've still got your study going on at college, but yeah.
Right.
So if you just
right when I'll finish the last final exam, I'm going to start building the new stuff that I have, and going to fly and try it. And then I will also do simulator to practice, because it always helps me. And I'm very excited about something that usually, since I'm from Barcelona, I can't fly on Barcelona, obviously, and I only fly on my town, on a village. And then there I go usually on the weekends or holidays, and then is where I fly. But now I found somewhere near Barcelona that I can go in 10 minutes by train. There is like an airplane club. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And there I'll build like a static track, and they have electricity, and I'll be able to charge. So I'm very excited about that, because that will be a game changer for me, because I can go out from home, take the train by 10 minutes, and go there where I have already built track, and I can charge.
You just get on with it.
Yeah.
And then go home and keep studying or whatever.
This is one thing
I'm very excited about that.
I found a similar thing. Like over here, I live in a really small island, and there's not a lot of places to go and fly. But I'm lucky enough that a friend of mine has quite a big field with a workshop on it, with power to the workshop, and it's changed everything completely, because it's like, you can go there and, like you say, you can fly packs all day. You don't have to kind of sit there, and it really helps kind of hone your skills if you set yourself up a little track. I mean, I only ever use my my small quads, like my little 2.5 inches, purely because of noise pollution and the neighbours complaining, which is a real pain. But like, you set up a track and you can fly all day, and you're just chucking these little 1S batteries on charge, and I've got about 20 of them charging whilst I'm flying through the rest of them and stuff. And it's awesome when you get that. And I know there's certainly around Europe, probably more in the kind of northern Europe and Western Europe, there's a lot of model aircraft clubs and things like that do those. But yeah, it can be difficult to sort of find them and then even convince them to let you build a track. So that's going to be awesome, dude. I'm excited to see your onboard footage when you get a track built up. That's going to be really cool.
Because, I'll be able to practice so much now, and still have time for other things, because like going to my town and then I have to go in the middle of nowhere and bring everything,
build a track. Yeah.
and I have
Yeah.
no charge, and I just simply flew the batteries I have, and then pack everything up and go
Come home.
Well, that's the
Like-
most time-consuming part is building a track and then taking it apart afterwards. That always takes me far longer than I ever get to fly it.
Yeah, with 1 hour,
And trying to
I'll be
replicate
able to do almost what I do in 1 day.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But then trying to replicate it also, like you turn around and you have this perfect track and you're like, right, sweet, nail it, nail it, nail it, nail it. You come out the next week and you've got to set the track up. Yep, track's back up at it's 2 foot, my ladder gate or something's 2 foot that way. All of
Yeah,
a sudden
it
it just
mucks you
throws
up
your whole
completely.
lines out and it's just like, oh, I just wasted a whole damn day.
Yeah.
So,
Well, every
But at
time I go fly, since I have to pack everything and then build it up again, I do a completely different track.
That's a good idea,
Yeah, okay.
I think. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't find that because I build every time I go fly, I build something different.
Do you have a favorite obstacle?
what keeps you?
Maybe a gravity gate or a ladder.
Okay.
Hmm.
Gravity gate. Yeah, that's
So-
interesting. Not a lot of people say gravity gate.
How do you say?
Well, no, like not a lot of people would say that as like a favorite obstacle. Like not a lot of people that I've come across. A lot of people like the ladder gates and the split S gates. And
Yeah,
things,
ladder- Yeah, but not a gravity gate.
It's a tough obstacle.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love it.
I suppose when you get it and it feels good.
So it feels so great to a gravity gate on real life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, yeah, in the sim, I think fine. I think in real life, I'd be way too scared of a gravity gate. I'd just be like, this is gonna
When you
explode.
really do it, when I really did it for the first time, I thought it's actually exactly the same as the sim. Or the same for another. I thought it's exactly the same, but more satisfying maybe.
Yeah.
Less expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
Cool. All right. Well, we might wind it up for this episode, I think. Thanks very much, Mark, for joining us as our special guest for our first episode for 2021. So muchly
Yeah,
appreciate
great having you, dude.
your time and your chat.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Pleasure.
Make sure you check out Mark on all the socials, and you definitely keep an eye out, guys, for, as Mark said, his new rig coming soon. And we can't wait to see all those gravity gates with the new DVR and those sweet Orca DVR vids coming soon, surely.
Crispy.
Just let us know, guys, out there, to tell us what you like about this video. Leave the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit those notification bell so you don't miss out on another vid. We've got another vid coming up next month with another special guest, hopefully. Make sure you check out all of Shane's weekly rundowns on the
My
DCL tracks.
terrible flying.
Well, it's your flying, not mine, so it's better. It's awesome. Make sure that you check out the Apex Drone Racing Facebook pages and the Apex Drone Racing community pages.
And .com for your
make sure you
merch.
make sure you check out Apex Drone Racing for all your super sexy merch. Thank you, guys. And yeah, until next time, fly safe.
Fly fast.
FLYAPEX.
See you guys in the next one.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye.